Hey everyone, welcome to Pop XP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the Pop XP channel. Hey, what is going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here now, Sky with the Pop XP, and joining me tonight is the man, the king of the stream, Mr. Blevins. Blevins, how we doing, fella? How we doing, fella?
Man, I'm doing great. You know, now, like, we've been doing these shows for over 2 years now. You know, we've been able to bring all these comic book artists on here, all these celebrities, and you know, being a gamer, you know, we've been able to I've been able to kind of get you guys to let me trickle in a little bit of game people in here. And I think it's been extremely well received, and man, cannot describe how excited I am about our guest for today. Well, I mean, like,
did you say just guest though? Because I feel like there's a little cherry on top.
We have a main guest, but you know, this guy is so big, we managed to bring in a celebrity guest host.
What?
A guest co-host? I kid you not.
Oh my
and in fact,
word.
if we want to, we can go ahead and bring this guy in. This guy,
you know him.
Like, he created the game that was a nightmare for you as a child. You know, one of the biggest winners in history for Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Everybody knows it. Earthworm Jim. He's been successful with Kickstarting, Bigfoot Bill. He's currently, he can be found in Exile. Doug TenNapel.
Always. You're a gay man, and I'm a gay man.
Gaming.
Oh, you said gamer.
Gamer.
Yeah. Then
gamer.
I'm off the yeah.
You're like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
We pulled you out of Exile for this.
It's like it's been forever. How long are you going to keep me off your show for? Jeez.
I don't
Man,
know.
I want to have you on every day if I can. It's the power
would lock you in his
man.
basement if he could. I'm telling you.
You're almost too big time for us.
So this guest I'm so excited about because we go way, way back to 1990. I met him.
Wow.
Jesus. Way back. We worked together forever, and he's just an amazing, of course, as you can tell, he's an amazing artist and a great guy. I can say I know a lot of amazing artists. I don't know a lot of amazing artists that are a great guy. So this is one of the good ones, one of the good guys.
Nice. Well, yeah, man. Without further ado, this guy was an amazing magic artist. That's where I've known him from. He's done work for Games Workshop with Warhammer Online. He's worked with Pathfinder. The game that took basically the world by storm when D&D went over to 4th edition. I mean, this guy has amazing wildlife stuff, fantasy artwork. This guy is the real deal. Also working on one of your favorite video games, Dead Revolver. Without further ado, Mr. Daren Bader.
Yeah. You guys you're cracking me up. What it's like. No, I'm just me. But
you're a superstar. Superstar. Yeah, and guys, look at this child. He's the same age as me. He looks like it's got to be you don't have a beard or something. Because
I do look old. My beard comes in completely gray, and it's gray up here. It's just kind of the light's dark, so you can't see the gray.
The light's right.
So
we met when we were 24. Is that right? When we worked together,
it would have been Yeah, it was 23, 24. I think that's when the whole AFT thing happened. And
so AFT is the American Film Technologies, is an animation studio where we did Attack of the Killer Tomatoes together. You and I were the two of a crew of lead animators, even though we were just starting in animation.
As in, like, that day, starting in animation as we were hired. They're like, oh, you can kind of draw, maybe, not even maybe, you can animate. We're like, oh, okay. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, you know, we knew about animation. We all kind of knew what we were doing. But yeah, talk about learning on the job. Holy cow.
Yeah, we were taught by Ron Brewer, who was the crew leader.
Duder.
And he was kind of in school also. Like, he would train us, and we would go through videos and stuff frame by frame. He taught us how to read an exposure sheet where you break down the voice, and we were doing tests on how far ahead to animate by how many frames. And it was amazing.
Dude, and I remember what you did. I remember this, like, specifically the first time, because they were like, you guys are green as far as animators, so don't do anything special. And you're like, I'm going to smear frames. And you just totally like, I remember it was the guy with the parachute. What was his name that you animated? Who was it? Finletter, right. Yeah. And he was coming down like a chimney or something like that, and you smeared the frame, and everybody's just like, what? That's crazy. That's stupid. And you're like, yeah, it's total Doug just going nuts. And they're like, whoa, we don't do that kind of stuff. They're trying to
tamp it down. Easy. Someone tamped, and they tried telling me no, and that was.
Oh well, they tried telling you. They told you no.
Why wouldn't they allow that technique?
It wasn't so much that they were allowing it. They didn't want anybody kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And from an animation director standpoint, it's like, there's different styles of animation, as we learned. There's lots of crazy Ren and Stimpy animation. There's rotoscoping. There's Disney. There's so many different ways to kind of get a look and feel. And what Doug was doing was Tex Avery, right? Crazy stuff.
Heavy Tex Avery. And the producer of that show, this was a Marvel show. We were working for Marvel. Yeah. Marvel was Rich Trueblood was the main boss, who was actually kind of, and I was doing something so broad and so stupid it did not belong in the show. But I was just happy to say, look what I did, guys. Look at this.
And we all just kind of were learning from that too. It was great.
Yeah, it was learning every day. And so, Darren, name the list of. There's just a list of guys that came out of that, because we were on the front end, not only of the animation boom, but we all eventually started crawling into video games, doing cartridges and early Sega and PC work.
Man, it's crazy. It was San Diego, right? That was the hub. I remember like the Blue Sky team was taking off. Sony was taking off. What was that? It wasn't Dark Horse, because it was Dark Horse. The comics existed, but there was like some other game. They were doing Batman stuff. Gosh, but as far as people, there was, who was there?
Medley's group. It was all the guys that ended up doing the Ultima Online, not Ultima, but it was
what was the big Sony?
EverQuest, Warcraft.
Yeah,
and of course Red Dead Redemption. A bunch of guys made their way to Sony.
To Angel. Oh my God, dude. It was just crazy.
And then Mosier ended up working for Disney as the lead character designer on Emperor's New Groove. Like, these were Brad Constantine also worked on EverQuest. Probably, I would say like 20 guys got put into animation leadership somewhere at DreamWorks, Disney, Sony.
Dude, and we were doing the 3D stuff even back then. Remember Pat Neary went to ILM and Susan, oh man, I can't remember the names. There's so many people. Everybody just kind of scattered.
Was it Crawford?
Wow.
Susan?
Well, there's Susan Cranford.
Cranford is who I'm thinking of. Yeah,
but she was producer.
So they reached it. She worked for PDI up that became DreamWorks. So we were just a bunch of didn't know hardly anything, working green, but on the front end of an entire industry that came and ended up pushing us all into leadership roles, because we were within a couple of years we were like the old veterans.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of sad, you're mentioning all these other studios and things, and it's like you mentioned Blue Sky, and Disney just shut them down. Yeah, that's horrible.
Well, that was even a different Blue Sky.
Oh, that was a different Blue Sky.
Yeah, okay. This was a video game company that was over here in Miramar in San Diego.
Yeah, they hired Ellis. That's where I met Ellis. Brian, I think you've been on a show with Ellis, but it was Blue Sky Software who did all the John Elway games. They originally had Mermaid before I got ripped from them and taken to Virgin. The Aladdin game. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And it's where I did Ren and Stimpy's Invention, Jurassic Park Genesis. And it was just my second game they put me on, I was the lead on Jurassic Park Genesis. And I was at the movie set.
It was a crazy game because it was nothing like the Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
They were two completely different games altogether.
Completely different team. Yeah, that was a European team that did that one. So Darren, I lost track of you probably around, and I'd see you every year at Comic-Con, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of the uniting thing, was we were all united by comics and pop culture and animation. We would see each other. But and Jeremy Cox, who colors so many comics. I mean, I see Jeremy Cox's name everywhere. He's this giant 6'7", long-haired redhead, awesome freak, hilarious freak.
He's up in Oregon now.
Is he still coloring comics inks? I see his name.
Yeah, he's been doing that ever since he left the game stuff, because he went into games and then went freelance with comics with Jim Lee and all those guys at Homage and all of that. And George was there for a while. And
George Davis is another animator. He worked with you on Red Dead.
Yeah, George was at Rockstar, or Angel / Rockstar, back at that time when we did Redemption, and moved on to we did Revolver and then Redemption and Redemption. God, there's so much has gone down since then. I mean, we were doing stuff. I was thinking about this because I tried to get a job, because I was the last one standing at AFT, because I'm just like a fool. I'm sitting there and they're like, hey, you can paint some backgrounds and you can still do some animation. We did Magic Paintbrush that was Marvel and McDonald's. And Rich Trueblood was directing that. I think Lance came in on that, and Brewer was directing, and Brad Constantine. There was still people doing stuff. But
Brewer
it was a
did
smaller
the
one.
Pink Panther reboot.
Yeah, he did that. He went off. I don't even know where Ron. He did Family Guy. He was directing Family Guy.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Dude, that is awesome.
It's just insane. It's
just
insane.
and we're a bunch of just regular guys.
Well, but a lot of time has
who's
passed.
who, man. Some big pedigree coming out of there.
I know.
Yeah, geez.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
I run into these people all the time. It's at Comic-Con and stuff. They're doing amazing things. In fact, I just got a giant Megadeth oversized book, and Jeremy Cox had colored one of the stories.
Nice.
And Kevin Eastman was a producer, helped put that book out. I think it was his company, Heavy Metal.
Yeah, Jeremy was coloring for Heavy Metal for a long time. Jeez. But I mean, San Diego was the place where you would find all those jobs, right? Mm-hmm. We would just go to Comic-Con, you bring your portfolio, talk to people, and they'd say, yeah, we can do this, we can do that. That's how I ended up getting the Magic cards. Was actually like, Brian, you had Matt on. Matt was the first guy to hire me to do artwork for the L5R stuff. Yep. You know, it was just before Magic had really kicked in really big, and I had my stuff. And I showed it to him. He's like, oh, dude, this is great. I've got cards. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'll paint some stuff for you. And it was fun. And then he got the job at Wizards, and brought me along as just like one of his artists. And that's how all the Magic stuff started.
That whole Urza Saga time frame, which your artwork matched perfect into it, because it was tons of jungle stuff. Tons of Tarzan-esque characters.
You were always doing jungles. Always.
Dude, any chance. I was so much organic stuff. Give me the organics, rocks and trees and all that stuff. Big cats. Yes. Big cats.
Big cats, definitely. Man, so how'd you get in with World of Warcraft? I mean, was that Blizzard's North America at the time, or was that straight up Blizzard's or Activision Blizzard? Or
so at that time, there was pretty much there's a whole stable of artists doing work for the Magic kind of genre, doing those cards, and the art directors kind of know each other. And then Warcraft was going to do their card sets, and so they had Mark Irwin. This was way back. Mark, by the way, worked with Jeremy Cox at Heavy Metal, but Mark Irwin was at Upper Deck, which is here in northern San Diego, and they were the ones producing the artwork for the World of Warcraft, and they got a bunch of comic book artists to do the artwork, so it all came in inked, and they had to color it, and they're like, no, we don't want this. But that was the Upper Deck was comics, right? So that was the stable of artists that they had. So they kind of had to mix the two groups of artists. They're like, we need painters, and they're like, well, what, like Simon Beasley? They're like, yeah, sure, but we want it to be like Magic. And so they kind of pulled in, oh, well, we know all these artists and stuff, and so it just kind of comboed that way. So that's how I got in with the World of Warcraft stuff.
And just from the business side, were they paying you by the piece, or were you a salaried guy? Did they take care of you and say, we want you, or it was by the piece?
It's by the piece. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, how many cards can you take? And I was doing this all while I was working full time, by the way. I never wasn't working full time.
All traditional too, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Warcraft stuff, after a while I started doing digital because they wanted changes after changes.
Your Hearthstone stuff was definitely digital, right?
Yeah, in fact, all of that, I don't think I did. I did maybe 2 or 3 traditional pieces for any of the Blizzard stuff, but all the Magic stuff, I have like 2 or 3 digital, and then the rest, you know, the 200 whatever there are cards are all traditional.
Which do you prefer?
Oh, I mean, I personally prefer the interaction with paint. I love to just like get in there and do things, you know, and that's what I've been enjoying with all the animal art lately. Is just like I'm exploring.
But if you're doing business, do you prefer paint because of so many edits? Isn't it just
no? If I'm doing business, actually, I prefer digital because you know you've got your layers and they're going to want changes and you're going to be flipping things around and doing all that stuff. And it's become actually really painful for traditional artists because art directors think that they can just ask for changes. Oh, you know, can you change that pose? You're like, you
like just scale it in Photoshop,
right? Just scale it.
Easy.
You know, when I was talking to Tony Dieter Lizzie, that was one of the big things that drove him away from doing that, because he didn't want to do digital. He wanted to do all traditional. And I remember it was about the time of Weatherlight, which was before Urza Saga. Like he was doing tons of paintings for that area. And they were doing the storyline with the Weatherlight and the Captain Sisse. And, you know, he did this painting called Mischievous Poltergeist, where it had Sisse and he was interacting with a ghost, right? Well, then they decided they didn't want to show Sisse yet. And they went in, they digitally altered his whole artwork. And he ended up selling the original artwork. And the guy was upset when he bought it because it wasn't the same picture, because, you know, Sisse was definitely not that character, you know, it wasn't the character that was in there. And I think he just bounced out completely.
Well, I mean, Tony he's all about that traditional stuff too, like the watercolor and everything. Like he's a pencil and water kind of guy. Like that's what his style is. So, you know, you can duplicate that digitally, but what's the fun? There is no fun. Like that's all about that.
Now, when I knew you, your traditional was all acrylic. Are you still doing acrylic, or do you do oils and watercolor?
I've always done acrylic and oil. It just depends on what I'm doing. Like typically I'll start with acrylic. I'll just do a wash because it's fast and you can just kind of crank. And with the Magic cards, I would do it that way because I could get real far real quick. And if I felt like I could finish it off in acrylic, I would. If I needed like some good blendy backgrounds and things, I would just break out the oils. So it kind of just depended on, you know, sort of how do I see it being a finished piece, and what are the things I'm going to need to do. And
you have sculptures back there. You've always done. God. You do that too.
Want to talk about Tribes of Kai. I remember.
There's my Tribes of Kai. That's the cover, and that's the sculpture I did.
Oh wow! I remember on Facebook when you're just like, man, I haven't sculpted in a long time, but now I'm going to do this, and your process with sculpting. I mean, like, it was awesome to follow you through that. Being a fan and also wanting to know about artwork and sculpting and stuff. It was so cool to see you revisit that and bring it back, like, you know, piece by piece online, you know.
It was a blast.
It was great to follow.
It was so fun. I mean, I sculpted in college way back in the day, but, you know, it's like, what are you going to do with sculpture? You're not going to find a job as a sculptor. So I didn't. And I didn't think about the fact that, of course, there's jobs as sculptors. But as you watch all these people these days, you're just like, it's insane the cool stuff they do. And so I was like, I know I understand 3D form. I'm going to do that. And so that painting, when I did it, I actually talked to the Shiflett brothers about doing a sculpture of it. And those guys are amazing. They're so good. But I just, at the time, I couldn't afford it. And so I guess it was 2 years ago, I finally said, I'm bored. I'm going to do this. And so, I'm going to bring it over here to show you.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, while you do that camera too, I'm going to bring in your ArtStation page.
By the way, it's raining like
cool.
It's raining like crazy outside.
Do you have the tornadoes? Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
look at that! Look at that!
I'm going to make it big here. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, dude.
It's a lion centaur.
Yeah.
Well, it's incredible. This whole here, let me pull it up as well.
Oh wow, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the hardbound book of this. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Right here. I mean, holy smokes. Look at this all here. Look at this.
Yeah, dude. His other art book that has the big dragon on the front of it. One of my favorite dragons. I think it was Oros dragon. Yeah, Oros the Avenger. I was like, man, can you draw a dragon on the inside cover of my book? And you sent it, and it was incredible. I wish I had it readily. All my stuff is still packed up, or I would love to have it on stream to show. But yeah, man, dude, your artwork is incredible. And you know what's so crazy is like at that time, talking with all the other artists, I was really big into the Magic scene. Like I was a professional Magic player at the time. Talked to all the other artists at that time, like Matt Wilson, Matt Cavada, Donato Giannicola, like all those people at the time. Dude, they kind of called you an overachiever because they were like, because your artwork was so much more than what they wanted, and you would never know that until you see the original artwork. Like when you look at the Oros dragon, you see him perched on that rock top with the crane, the birds flying around him. Like you didn't see all that on the Magic card. They cut and crowd, and I think even some items, like even the picture that's the background here, the parrot that they use for Hearthstone, they actually broke that down into 2 different pictures because it was so big, And
look at the armature! Look at that.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude, it's crazy.
What kind is that? Just soft armature wire, or is that really hard?
It's just wire that I bought at the art store. It was Blick art, and it was made for armature. And I just watched a couple of YouTube videos. And really, once I sculpted those rocks, then I was like, "Ooh, I have to take this seriously now."
Yeah, those rocks are
there. It is. There's the base of it.
It was difficult to figure out. Okay, how does this work? This is 2 figures. One of them is flying through the air, and one of them is a cat centaur on his 2 hind legs.
That's amazing.
So it was a little bonkers, but once I had that armature, and it was actually, Doug, you should do it, man. It was so well. You did it. You've done your.
I do it all the time. But I'm saying,
I did it before I got on the stream.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but to have the proportions set up at the wire level is very difficult to do.
That was difficult.
If you screw that up, then you have to either change the wire or whatever, and you've got Sculpey all over the place. So it's really
actually scroll up to that one picture above this one. That head is the wrong head. The head was too big. I literally cut that thing off and resculpted the head on the dragon guy because it was too big. Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, this is painful. But I'm like, yeah, but if you know it's wrong, it's going to always be wrong. So you better fix it now before you love it too much.
That's good philosophy right there, guys. If it's wrong, it's always going. Look at the scale work on his back right there.
That was so much fun.
I just love like, I watched a couple of YouTube videos. and then this is.
And the legs.
He's like,
the patterning on the legs. It's really tight.
He's like, I took a class at the Y. And
well, once he can already paint, so you already have to flip the image in your head. So if you can paint, usually you can sculpt. If you can sculpt, you can storyboard. You can do all kinds of stuff.
What material are you sculpting with here, though?
It's Super Sculpey.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right, Doug. It's like as a painter, you have to understand 3-dimensional thing. If you understand what light is doing, you know why it's rolling, why it's turning, what a core shadow is, how come it's there, what the other lights are doing. All that stuff is about informing the shape. So if you're having to choose your values to do that on a 2-dimensional surface, then you understand what you're shooting for in a 3-dimensional surface.
You can sculpt that better than you can paint it because all of that lighting is real. If you nail the shape, it's so hard for what you do with acrylic paints where you paint a color figure and it looks like light and shadows are bouncing on it. With a sculpture, you just paint the core colors and it casts a highlight and shadow on it without having to know highlight and shadow. You know what I mean? So
right now,
it's way harder.
It's way harder to make it look realistic. I mean, and that's why people look at Gurney, right? And so many people, they sculpt a quick little face, a maquette of whatever it is they want, or animators, right? Once you have that in front of you, then you let your eyes understand what's going on, and it's just it's just more information for the final piece that you're putting in.
So the audience didn't hear us off screen, but Darren painted the first, they called him Evil comic book that everyone is getting with their Earthworm Jim 2 books. Every backer gets one. I reprinted the original painting, that the original comic that he did the cover for me for in 1991. That's an acrylics of Evil the Cat, before it was ever a part of the Earthworm Jim world at all. I hadn't even thought of him yet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that I have the second cover of Winslow being pushed out the balloon?
Yeah.
I have that.
I lost
it was
all
never
the
published,
interior,
right?
I lost the interior art.
Oh, man. I have it somewhere. Dude, it's in my storage. I've got to
Well,
go
if
get
you
those
find
for
it,
you.
we'll scan it and I'll make a print of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Evil one. That was so much fun. That was right when Ren and Stimpy we were all just like, this is crazy fun stuff. And just pushing the shapes and the perspective and the colors and all of that. It was just so much fun. Yeah. And I had him doing the little shadow puppet and made sausage lips out of his fingers.
Yeah. It was, you're so good. And that was just, we were so young, Darren. Like, we've had a lifetime since then.
I know.
We were just starting out, and everyone was like newly married, and everyone was thinking about, having kids. Your career is ahead of you. We're going like, what are we going to do? Because AFT was a hard job. I mean, to land. It's not like I had all this animation experience or anything. It was like, this is a real job with a big crew and everything. It's not like I was doing like independent little illustrations before that. By the way, Barry Sandrew, who is the madman inventor of that technology, right? This is a brain like doctor who invented brain.
He was a surgeon, right?
Yeah. He invented brain imaging, where they would scan cross sections of the brain. Mm-hmm. He took that technology, brought it into American film technology, and he used it to colorize Ted Turner films. So he invented all that technology, right? Madman. He and I text each other every once in a while still. He texted me this year going, Doug, I just came up with this technology. It allows you to put your phone in a 3D space. Here's a Super Bowl commercial with Weekend that we just did. See if this tech works on your phone. And there's like Pepsi and like Super Bowl had hired him, bought his technology to do this thing where you go into a 3D environment with your phone. It worked, by the way, first time, because he's a genius. Nice. He's a blast. He's just a real out of the box oddball, man. Out of the box.
Was it an altered reality or a 3D? Like,
it was an altered reality where it projects it onto the background that you're looking at. And
that's neat.
It was really cool.
Neat.
Yeah.
New tech.
Yeah. Well, dude, I tell you, when you went to work and was doing stuff for Games Workshop with Warhammer Online, what was your capacity there? And did you ever get to work with Mike Lim, who goes by Darken? Any of the Darken Studio? Any of that?
No, I didn't. I didn't really do that. What I ended up doing for that was just the cover for the game itself. It was actually an outside company that contacted me. I know, Michael Filippi, I believe, was working there at the time. He was one of the artists on the project, one of the art directors. And
that's amazing lighting on these.
And this is, of course, like the fun stuff. You're moving backwards in time as you look at that. The first sketches were just like all this atmospheric stuff, and they're like, nope, out the window. We need this is Warhammer. We need the detail. We need to see everything. And I'm going, no, but it's Frazetta. Imagine if Frazetta did this,
Yeah.
That was me. That's always me.
We're art illiterate. Just give us who's Frazetta?
No, everybody knew. But yeah, that Warhammer piece, this, of course, digital. Each one of those characters all on different layers and everything. And that was flipping them and changing them. And those two main characters right there, they made standees of those. And so I had to actually separate them out and complete their full stance so that they were, like these, I doubt they were life size, probably like 3 or 4 feet tall.
They were definitely life size.
Did you see them?
Yeah, I had them at my store. In fact,
I never even saw those.
Yeah, let me check my Facebook page. Maybe I have a picture of it still. Please stand by. This is recorded. Please.
That was such a fun painting to do though, because because first off, the money was there. They were paying me good money to do it because it's a cover and it's, it's a company that's hiring an illustrator and they're paying a decent price. And so I'm totally open to like, I'll spend the time. I know I can give you the detail. It's just that you have to pay me to do that, with the time. Mm-hmm. And I just was diving so deep into all of that fun detail and the lighting and everything and layering the light, dark light kind of stuff that was happening in there and thinking about how they were going to, where they were going to put the logos and everything. It was a blast.
So complete tight sketch, all of the clouds, building, background characters, all the way up to the foreground, tight sketch? No.
The sketch was like what you saw at the bottom of that scroll. Like it started off as that. And I had like probably 15 different iterations. At one point, they wanted giant mountains in the background. And so I had mountains, but it sort of ended up like, can you change out these things and this and that? So it was.
So this almost like the underpainting was changing all along as you were addressing
constantly,
it.
Constantly, because I had so many different layers. If they wanted to change something up, I went with this color scheme because I just, I default to orange and brown. But as we started getting deeper and deeper into it, I think one of these actually shows. I love that one because of the light on the walls and stuff. And I thought the two characters are popping out really nicely. But it's a little bit fairy tale looking. But keep scrolling and you'll see the mountains pop in. Yeah, there's some big mountains that they wanted. And then they're like, no, but we need this gate to be even bigger and just all kinds of. I was scaling, moving stuff around. It was so much fun. So much fun.
And they're like, get rid of the mountains.
Yeah. And there was a ton of detail in there too.
So I do not have it. I thought I had the big standee, like, because they also made giant banners of that picture right there as well. They had the banners that came down from the ceiling, which I still have the banners up now at the store. It's been closed for like over 2 years, and they're still hanging from the ceiling.
Nice.
So if a work week is 40 hours, how many hours would you say is in this piece?
I honestly, I couldn't tell you. I know I worked on this one for months. And this was, as freelance. I still had my day job at I think I was probably Angel Studios at this time. So this was weekends and nights and stuff. Man, I couldn't tell you, but it was worth it. The money was there for it. And I knew that this piece was going to be seen, you know how it is. It's like, this is an important thing for me. So I need to put the time and the effort in. And like, that's sort of funny because if you look at like some of my Magic cards, you can tell the ones that I was really interested in because they turned out better. Whether the card was good or not, I don't know these things when I'm doing the painting. But for example, like Oath of Druids, which turned out to be like some really big deal card.
It was a massive tournament played card. So like at one of the Pro Tours, like it was 4 of those were in almost every deck that was in the top 24, which was day 3. So it was crazy.
I gave that painting away. That painting, which probably could get upwards of, I don't know, you tell me, 15,000 or something, maybe
about $25,000. Yeah,
right. I gave it away.
Not as much as your Miri Cat Warrior.
No, Miri, I sold that a while back.
But if you had it now, because Miri is like part of the whole Legends process of what Wizards is doing. All the named characters from that time period: Sisay, Krovax, Urtai, Gerard, all the named characters. But Miri Cat Warrior was the big one because she was also a big mainstay in the tournament scene. Which that's how everybody realizes what That's how everybody gets to know who people are. Is they do the artwork of the most amazing cards around, and Miri was a huge one at the time. But
it's kind of sad though when you think about like I said, you don't even know what this painting is going to be. And back in the day, you're like, oh, you'll pay me $300? Cool, I'll take it. And then you see like later someone selling it for $6,000 or something crazy. You're like, oh, why'd I do that?
I used to be really good friends with Quentin Hoover before. Before he passed, R.I.P.
Yeah.
And I knew him forever. Kept trying to get him to come down to Arkansas.
Such a good guy.
Oh man, yeah, him and I talked to him and Jesper Murfors like all the time online. But man, like he just kept telling me this story about how he got $400 for Wrath of God. You know, like Wrath of God, this painting. He's like, man, and he would say, like, after he sold it, he went around and he was telling people, he's like, man, this guy came up and paid $400 for this. Man, I got him. Like, you know, he was just like, and now like that thing's, I mean, $250,000. And it's like probably only this big, you know?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. Dude,
well, but you don't know at the time what the value is attached to it. It's a different value. It's not because of that, you know, piece of art. It's because it's a piece of history. You know, it's a part of that game.
The nostalgia's coming in and it use.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know how anything's going to turn out. I mean, you could be working on something today, and then, you know, 10 years from now, if a trend picks up a certain way, you know, now that piece just, you know, flies out the roof in value.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Well, the magic artists know now, though, it's like, okay, don't treat everything with respect, because you just, you know, if it's going to garner that respect, then you don't want it to be a piece of garbage that you kind of dumped out, you know.
Well,
which I had my fair share of.
Yeah, like Magic was rotating over into the whole digital time period about the time that Matt went on to go do Privateer Press. Like it was kind of hitting its stride when it comes to the digital. And Jason Chan was one of the huge people that started pushing that digital wave in there, creating all the Planeswalkers. Like he had all the big named characters. You know, right off his success of Zombie Playground, which was a crazy piece of artwork as it was. But you know, there still is some amazing people that are still doing traditional. Like Chris Ron is one. I don't know if you know who Chris Ron is. Man, incredible
that
artist.
Dude, he's a painter's painter.
Dude, I called that guy, and you can ask him if you ever talk to him. I called him up one day after looking at his artwork, and I said, "Hey, look, I know you don't know me. My name is Daren Blevins. I'm the owner of the game store in Arkansas. Like, I just want to let you know that you are the next big thing in art. Like, you are the next big. You are going to be so huge, you're not going to even know what you're talking about." And he's like, "Okay, like, what's this phone call all about?" And I told him, and I managed to get him to come to a pre-release and sign artwork, and I got sketches from him. I bought pieces from him, and Magic Online got him to do Time Twister, Black Lotus, like all these named cards. All of it, he still does traditional. Like all of it, he still does traditional. And man, like, I mean, again, if you talk to him, I was like, dude, I knew him when.
I called him. I called it.
Yeah, I called him again later on when I was about to close the store. And I said, "Hey man, do you want to come back to the store?" And he goes, "Man, I can't. I'm way too busy. They're flying me all around the world. Wizards of the Coast flying me all around the world to sign autographs."
Are they flying you around, Darren?
They did. That was amazing. Like
where have they taken you?
I've been to Japan, Berlin, Kuala Lumpur, Australia,
yeah,
Melbourne.
I was about to say you went to Australia. That was a big
great one.
Yeah.
I did a Paris event or Lyon. Dude, seriously, like that was the reason I was doing this work. It's like you actually felt like, whoa, they respect what's going on. They're actually putting these artists out there for the.
Would you say this is your favorite fan base then, between video games and animation and comics? Would you say that the Magic the Gathering fan base is the most fun and rabid and respectful?
Definitely the most rabid, for sure. The most rabid.
Would you also say that it's different now than what it was then? Like, because the fan base then was awesome. Now it's kind of a totally different animal, right?
It is a different animal. And I haven't done any Magic work for a few sets, and only things of mine that get printed are just reprints. And so, I'm still doing things, and I'm finding that actually my artist proofs are worth money now that, they weren't necessarily before, and doing paintings on the back of them and stuff. But the thing with the fans now is, like, again, it's back to the nostalgia effect here. Magic's been around a long time. There's generations now of people who've played it. So the staying power is there. So, it's the weirdest thing to hear someone say, "Oh man, in 6th grade, I had this card. It was my favorite." I'm like, in 6th grade? What are you talking about? And this is someone who's, a respectable person with a job. And, it's so weird to think about the time that's passed but that fan base, it's massive, it's worldwide. And I think, it has a lot to do with how good the card was. That's for sure. The worst thing you want to hear is, someone walk up, I really like this art, but the card's a piece of crap. And you're like, as if I have anything to do with that, but it's just kind of, you kind of let that go. They're looking at the art and it's connected to them because of the way they play the game. There are definitely people out there who love the art, the magic art, and they're like, I don't care what the cards are. I just love that there's, all of this art being done. But that's a whole different vibe than I do get similar things when someone, hears that I was art directing Red Dead Redemption, or even Revolver. It's funny when they say Revolver, like way back in the day, and because that was like the first one that was basically, we were doing that with Capcom at the time. Again, there's the nostalgia of growing up with that. Or Mr. Bones, which I did way back with. There's so many old things, but all it does is it makes me feel old, Doug.
We've seen a lot of road. We've laid a lot of track.
Man, a fun fact you may not know, Darren. So back in the day, before Magic started doing foil cards, which is like, their big mainstay, like foils are the big thing. Pouncing Jaguar was the very first Judge promo foil card ever created. Pouncing Jaguar, the common Pounce Jaguar, the 1 green 2/2 with Echo. It was the first one. Like,
I don't have any foils of that.
The first foil was Lightning Dragon, done by Ron Spencer, who's the brother of Therese Nielsen. Yeah. But yeah, your promo, like, you were the first foil promo card that wasn't a pre-release card. It was a Judge promo, and it was. They also did that, and then Christopher Rush got Lightning Bolt. Again, another guy that we lost. But yeah. So Pouncing Jaguar, 100%, which is an amazing looking picture, and it really looks like it's going to bite you.
It's sort of a silly looking cat. It was fun. They, I said, anytime you get cats or monsters in jungles, give them to me, and so that's how they knew me. So yeah.
Do you find you have an advantage being an animator to put that kind of kinetic movement in there?
It's all connected. You know that, man. It is so much connected. It's same with the sculpture, right? It's like understanding the form, how to twist and turn it, and like
your sculpture's way more pushed than most people do with their action.
It really is, because you look at it from top down, you look at it from every side, right? And you realize it's flat when I look at it this way. Push this out further here. All of that stuff factors in. And so I do think that having that background with animation, it gives me the okay to just really push things, to break bones, and really tweak something. I know it's not physically possible, but it makes for a better picture, that kind of thing. And, that's what you do that stuff for.
The illusion of life.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
If you don't mind, so I'd like to just bring up here, some of your life paintings. So it looks like you've taken trips, as they were talking about the big cats, but I mean, just your art technique. It's incredible.
This one's in oil, so that shows the process going right there. I just was scrubbing it in. I've got that hanging right above my camera, and it was a blast to do. These were all. This was Doug. Have you ever been to Africa?
No.
You must go. I went on a safari, an 8 solid days of safari.
Wow.
It was life changing. These are all from my photos. Right? Yeah, this one's acrylic.
That's acrylic. Yeah.
We saw these are all from photos that I took. We witnessed all of this. Was a night kill right here that we saw. It was, and I was literally maybe 6 feet from that. Wow. Like you could see the steam from the body. You hear the crunching of the bones, the growling, and the silence of the night. It was insane. It was the best. Oh my God, it was amazing. This cheetah, these were the 5 brothers that were these cheetahs that were hunting. And it was a good shot that I had. This is, I think, one of my best paintings, just because I finally I let go. I'm splashing paint and I'm doing stuff. The subject matter was there. My love for it was there. And there's just so much, inspiration to take this thing in. It was so much fun. That's funny. I made that as a puzzle for my parents for Christmas, and my dad hates me. He's like, "That's the most difficult puzzle. These tiny pieces. It's all green. I can't.
All these
spots
pieces are
in
the
green."
All the spots.
Oh man, it was so fun. All of these were just, and it was great. I have 10,000 photographs, and I just like scroll through them. I'm like, I want to take this. I did not witness this. We missed the wildebeest. This was I got photos from our driver, my driver. Our driver, his name was Moses, and he still sends photographs of stuff that he's like, hey, check it out. And he witnessed this, and I'm like, oh, dude, can I paint this? And he's like, yeah, go for it. So yeah, he saw that pose of that jumping wildebeest. That's real. Like
He
that
looks
is.
like he's trying to commit suicide.
I know, it's insane.
He has to get through before the Crocs get him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run.
Those crocs are giant, man. They're like 20 feet long. It was just nuts. I didn't see this zebra. That's a rare zebra, but that was their another photo from Moses. This was definitely that we were sitting in that was the first lion that we saw. We got there and you basically just jump right in the Jeep and you're driving around, and we saw this lion under a tree, and we're just sitting there watching him, and he turned to us and just kind of and you hear him growl. Like it is a deep, deep guttural, like scary sound. It was so good.
Look at this. This looks like it's going to jump off the page.
That's animation in me saw that pose, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much fun and movement.
And what's that done in?
That one is watercolor. I think I drew it first with like a brown brush pen, and then I did watercolor and then some white gouache and mixed the gouache with the watercolor.
It's the gouache that doesn't look muddy. It pops.
It pops it right off. The cheetah's resting.
God, that is awesome.
It was so fun. That was I will go back any chance I get. I'm hoping to do it this year.
Cool.
Was the splash on purpose here?
Yeah. I was just like trying to get a little bit of it's when you go to a place like this, you realize that life is dirty, life is difficult, it's bloody, and there's no joy. This is a difficult existence. And I wanted to try and get some of that, the dirt, and the struggle. Listen to me. I wanted to try and get some of the struggle into the piece that I was doing.
The struggle of the animal, the angst. But it does look more natural when you put something organic like that in it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
That's
It
incredible.
was so fun.
Amazing.
Oh, that leopard. That was the leopard that I did the latest painting of.
Yeah,
So
it
many
pops
shots.
on that black background. It pops for sure.
Zebra butt. Dude, it was like the Garden of Eden. I swear, you're sitting there and you just saw all of these animals just as far as you could see. And you're just sitting there like, this is crazy. But
in your spare time, it's funny that you don't draw men in armor and dragons.
No.
You do wildlife.
I did in high school, but the wildlife, having this reference and having the experience of being there is so much more important. It really does. Like it's something inside you that you want to capture. The majesty. I mean, these animals are just so beautiful. Now, I didn't get that photograph. I did that from a different photograph that someone sent me. But that leopard is literally hanging on, what is that? A topi, I think, hanging on its maw. He's like, all the claws are in him.
Trying to take it down.
And I'm pretty sure that that wasn't a good end for that antelope there.
Dude, I love how that tail is wrapped around that front foot.
Yeah.
It just was, everything it had was just wrapped up and just like pulling it down.
Yeah,
That's
he ate
incredible.
good. He ate good that night.
Oh, this one. I didn't see this. I was, do you know Aaron Blaze?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the other car. There were so many of us. We had three Jeeps out all at once, and he got these photographs. I was in a different car at this time, but they caught this. I'm like, oh my god, the thing was walking around with the head of the
And Aaron Blaze is like
gazelle.
snapping away. Aaron Blaze is an amazing animator too.
Oh, he's
is he a San Diego guy, or is he just?
No, he's Florida.
You just put the trip together.
The trip was put together through Expedition Art, which is an art conservatory for animals, and people that I've known for a while, Manu and Aaron and Christie, these people. And so when they said they were going to Africa, I said, please tell me when I will be there.
Yeah. And Aaron Blaze has a lot of animals, but his big thing is bears.
Well, he's everything, dude.
Yeah.
He kills it. Like, there's not an animal he can't do. He's so amazing.
He
did Lion King. He did Brother Bear.
He's one of the best animators ever.
Yeah. Amazing. Good guy too. Really good guy.
It's incredible. Your art's incredible. It really is.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Such an amazing range you have with your art too, which is cool. And one thing you guys were mentioning, you're talking about being in the industry for so long, and starting off, where you guys started off, then kind of seeing everyone moving on to bigger and better things. I mean, was there anything that like when Ren and Stimpy and stuff took off, were you guys ever looking at that, animating at the time, like, holy crap, how are they getting away with this? Or, hey, we could do this but better, or anything of that nature?
Always. Like, how many, like, every day we would be coming up with our own stuff. Like, we have to do these things. Remember the surfing monkey, Doug?
Yeah.
Like, there's so much. George with his voices.
Yeah. And they were musicians too. So.
Oh, yeah. So all the sound was there. Lance was, it was insane because we all were inspired by that stuff.
And it was young and dumb and not corporate. So it was like, everyone had, long hair and piercings, and they'd bring in guitars, and they'd bring in little stop motion figures, and bring in animated shorts, and comics were all being passed around. That guys back then, it was just photocopy stuff. And Ren and Stimpy was just a legend at the time. We knew guys that were working on it. It hadn't quite come out yet, I don't think. But every movie, every animation movie, and rumors
the festivals.
Yeah, jobs that were opening up, animated shorts. Did you Lupo the Butcher and all that stuff?
Right,
we'd play
South Park.
Yeah, you'd bring in little videotapes and say, "Guys, look what I got! Look at this!" And everybody gather around, and everyone was really funny and loud, kind of clownish. When you have there's a floor of like 70 people or 50 people. In different shifts, there was night shifts, and it was like a kind of an exhausting, almost thankless job, but everyone was very creative. It was kind of easy to be creative around these people because you'd never get in trouble for anything you did or said or thought around your friends anyways.
Around your friends.
Yeah, executives, maybe not, but because they were always trying to sell the company and sell technology, so they were always like, fake. Hey guys, please try not to look like just complete homeless people. We all look homeless.
The bread and butter was the colorizing. Like that was it. The Ted Turner movies was like, there was all of those movies that were being colorized. That's where all the money was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
That's what prompted the tech and everything. And it definitely was. It was,
We were the experiment in animation, and we landed Killer Tomatoes, which was totally unfounded. It was like an experiment. The whole series was.
Yeah, it turned out pretty fun. I'll go back and see like an old episode or something, and I cringe, and I see that the experiment with the MCL and all the different things of the ways of trying to come up with animation. We tried to get the Simpsons so many times, it was amazing. It was
a lot of our friends would go, and they ended up boarding on Simpsons and all kinds of shows like it. But the technology they were trying to work on was having almost what you see in Premiere now, but like some kind of a 3D puppet that you could pose kind of frame by frame.
Yep.
It was like a ray traced puppet. And they'd have Bill Croyer would come through there. Phil Niblink, the Bluth guys came through there.
Stan Lee actually came through there one Comic-Con. Yeah.
Amazing talent and San Diego wasn't known for animation. So they sucked every artist and animatory guy out of San Diego in this one company.
None of us that wanted to go to LA.
Surfing and barbecues and the roach truck.
The roach coach. Dude, I remember the quesadillas with avocado, man.
It was just
good times.
Fun and funny.
Oh man,
and our one friend who really we should have on is Lance Hutto, this heavy metal guy.
Lance.
Maybe we can bring him on and do a follow-up to this.
Hey, he's doing a Kickstarter, man. He's got a couple thousand.
That's her jam, dude.
He's working. He's been doing. I mean, he's done tattoos. He had his band. He worked in the game industry with us. I mean, he is his own guy. But yeah, he's been surviving as a freelance guy because he has his ethos that he lives by, and
he really is a romantic deep down inside.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. He's the guy who wrote my book, right? TUCCI'S, right? That's Lance.
Yeah.
So,
so we met, not met, but he came over. You know, every year at Comic-Con, I get this condo in Del Mar that we've been going to for 30 years. Yeah. And he came by and we had dinner, and he brought over a hardbound copy of that book in the case. You know, in the
slipcase
days. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful edition, and I got to see all this. Punches. Really well done. In fact, I showed that book to my publisher and said, "Look at this. Why don't we have the logo on the bag like they do? They got a little logo on the bag. Well, they have gold leafing on the bag."
Well, you've done it with yours. Holy cow, man! The what is that? The gilding on the edges of the paper and everything. Like you pulled zero punches.
Some of that stuff from you guys. I'm watching other people push it in different areas. You know, I can never afford that slipcase, but I'll get there.
You'll get there.
You can afford that slipcase. You can afford that slipcase. What'd you get? $250,000 on that one?
Well, I didn't make $250,000. I pulled in a.
Yeah. That's enough to pay for a slipcase, though. I think you could have squeezed that in.
There's still bills to pay.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, all of these guys were creating, you know, and Darren was always a big cat guy. So he was always painting. You'd bring in painting, and you'd just look over at a guy during lunch, and sometimes the guy'd pull out a harmonica and start playing, you know. George Davis, they played guitars, they were in bands, and I remember hanging out at each other's houses. It was almost like from the 50s or something, where you just go and hang out at each other's houses even. And you were always going to concerts.
Do you remember? I think it was my 25th birthday when Lisa threw the surprise party, and everybody was at my house in Del Mar. Up in the mountain, in the hills there. Yeah. And we had squirt gun fights, and we drew all over that banner. I still have that banner, by the way. Do you remember that? We had a piece of butcher paper rolled up on the wall and some pencils out. That was Lisa's idea. And it's like, well, you got a bunch of artist friends. Let them draw all over that.
Your wife is lovely, Lisa. I just love.
Thank
you. And
your
son.
Tori's now. Well, you've got 4?
I've got 4. You started though back 5 years before.
Yeah. Tori was born in 92. So Tori was the first like AFT baby.
Production baby.
Yeah.
That's as so things were wrapping up. I love all of the families, and there was a lot of love. And none of us, we're all completely different, but just Wildman was kind of the uniting factor, is like true, like really artists, like a college art department. Almost.
Yeah. Well, and the camaraderie of everyone, just like sounds like everyone's meshing together really well, you know, inside and outside the studio.
Well, we definitely had like these similar interests, and even if they weren't the same, like if someone's like Ren and Stimpy versus South Park, it all came to the humor and the way that we like, it was all about getting a good laugh. It was all about like having a good time. And so, you know, we fed off of each other. The ideas were just flowing. The future was in front of us. You know, it was that stereotypical, like when you're in your early 20s and you're around creative people, you know, the world is your oyster. It really was. It's like everything was available.
They'd bring like, that was the first time I ever saw Illusion of Life. Someone brought in a copy. And
Christopher Kreidel probably brought that in.
And it would just pass across 70 desktops. Yeah. You know, you'd look at it and you go through it. The next guy, or they'd bring in a comic and you go, oh, that guy's a weirdo. Look at all this garbage in here. Or it would be like a Beatles songbook or something. You know? And bands, that was another thing.
Oh, man.
We were allowed to play music, so people would bring CDs in. So, you know, this is Nirvana. I learned about Jellyfish there, you know, just bands that it was new. It was before anyone else heard of them. They'd bring it in. Queensryche was, you always bring in Queensryche. And
Nine Inch Nails. I remember Nine Inch Nails. That was the first time we heard Nine Inch Nails. Jeremy brought that in. Jane's Addiction was big. Jane's Addiction was huge right there. Yeah.
It was really.
It was really 90s.
Gore. We were
Gore.
Gore. So we're talking about his Gore concert stories. And it was in because of the atmosphere. It created an atmosphere that when you think back on those days, it's not just the work that we did. No, there's the final product on video. I barely even remember the shows. It was the true creative atmosphere.
Yeah, it was the place, that feeling of walking in there and everybody like doing that thing, and you could see the different screens with all the different scenes on it, and you're just like it really felt like you were, like you're meant to be doing these things.
Now, Darren, when did you get out of animation?
I mean, I guess it would have been when that whole thing kind of fell apart. I was like the last person to sort of stay around. I did the Magic Paintbrush. We did the Gay and Wilson thing, the diner. Remember that? And then the whole thing was the colorizing was still going on, and that moved down to Tijuana. And Ron was going down there and working with them. I didn't want to have anything to do with that. And video games were taking off, right? So it was kind of like we were doing sprite animations for video games. I was working on the Berenstein Bears at Compton's New Media. That's what it was. I was there with Lance and George.
And Lance got me my first freelance gig that started me in games.
Which one was that?
It was either Dave Worrell Studios or that Dark.
It was Dark Horse, right? It was called Dark Horse or Black Horse or. It
was something like that, but they did the Batman 2 game.
Yeah, and that was Smedley, right? John Smedley?
I think so. It could have been Ed Annunziata was another guy that did Echo the Dolphin.
Ed worked with Angel Studios back at that time too. They did because Angel Studios did.
He worked with me on Jurassic Park.
Nice.
So, you'd contract, right? But I didn't have my own 286 or 386 or whatever they gave me, and they would give you a computer to take home, and I was like, "Look at this! It's a 286." And you open up Deluxe Animator, and they would literally have "Look, we have 4 cartridges to fill, and we're under contract. One's the Barney game, and the Bernstein Bears PC game, or whatever it was." And they would give you a list of animations, and I made so much money my first year in video games, just a ton of money just doing contract work because it was so easy to do a 8x8 pixel or a 16x8 animation thing was easy compared to what we were doing at AFT. And video games would go like, "You guys are so good," and we were like, "This is dog food, man."
See, I never got into that stuff because I got the job at Angel Studios and was doing, concept.
Were you doing Lawnmower Man? Was that?
They did Lawnmower Man. They did the Peter Gabriel Kiss the Frog video. And that's why I loved them. It's like I knew about them because of Peter Gabriel being the Peter Gabriel head that I am.
Yeah.
And who did they ask? They were looking for someone who could paint, and I think it was Brian Haberlin. We had the booth next to Brian Haberlin, who of course is a world famous comic book color. He's the guy who started digital comic book coloring. He had a booth next to Zombie Love, which was Jeremy's comic at that time at Comic-Con in 90, whatever this was. So we were painting there, and he saw my stuff. And then the Angel Studios, Jill Hunt asked him, they knew him from somewhere else, if he knew any painters. They got my name, called me up, and like, "Hey, we're looking for a painter." I'm like, "Oh my God, there's a company that wants me to paint for them, like full time." And I took that job like nobody's business, just boom, took that job and started doing what was concept art before it was called concept art. I was like, an art director and just doing, designing characters and painting backgrounds and all this stuff, and kind of animation direction with some people and things. And that was the start of the Angel Studios time, and basically from that point on, I just became an art director and sort of a concept artist as time went on. And I just stayed at Angel. We got bought by Rockstar. There's the whole Red Dead Revolver and how that happened with Capcom. And when Rockstar bought us, they got that property of the Red Dead Redemption, or the next game was Redemption. And so we created Red Dead Redemption. Everybody thought it was going to fail because they're like, what are you going to do in a desert? Like, there's nothing to do in a desert and it's going to look ugly. And we're like, no, it's not going to look ugly. And that was like, that's when I fell in love with landscape. Like, because I was put on that project and I wasn't a big Western fan. And I'm going, you know, I have to like what I'm doing or it's really going to suck for both me and the project. And I started going back to like, well, of course I love landscape. I've always loved landscape. Yeah. So let me look at it that way. And I went back and looked at all the, you know, the painters, the Western art and all the Southwest art. And I'm like, really sinking my teeth.
That's all the good stuff.
Beautiful. Right. And I realized, oh, this is it. This is the thing for me. And just really dove deep into how to make a desert look like a desert and why it is. And so, you know, that really kind of opened up a big kind of hatch in my head and said, oh, there is something here that where I should be directing this. I can't get in here and make these things in 3D at this point. It's a waste of my time. What I need to do is talk to a group of people and explain to them why the rocks need to be positioned like they are, and they, you know, what composition means when you're looking at a scene, and why we want to push and pull in Z space instead of.
And were you doing magic cards while you were art
the whole
directing?
Time? Yeah, the whole time. Like the weekend, I was doing magic cards. Like, you know, remember when we had energy back in those days?
Oh yeah, we could do all-nighters and all weekends. And
right
now, have a concert at night and go to work the next day. It was nothing.
Yeah, it was absolutely nothing. Yeah. Now I can't. I'm like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. I'm like, whew, I need to. My eyes hurt.
Let me get my tapioca pudding and go to bed.
Yeah, I definitely want to say, not that it matters now, but I think Red Dead 2 got robbed at the Game Awards. I definitely think you guys should have won over God of War 4. I mean, God of War was good, don't get me wrong. But man, you know, when you guys brought out Red Dead, I mean, like it was the game. Like people were buying systems for that game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I thought it was insane. And I think you guys should have hands down won that Game of the Year title.
There's definitely pieces of, I think, you know, things that were done in the Red Dead world that just haven't been done in other games, you know, because of the way we approached the landscape, because of what we were trying to do in terms of the history and the vibe of a Western. It's not the same as, you know, crazy Star Wars or anything else. It's like
which famously has the thin culture in the sci-fi space worlds. It's so thin, and you guys had just so much more atmosphere and depth and I think humanity.
It's open world, whereas like God of War, you had to follow the path. I mean, there was nothing fancy, you know, comparatively speaking. Like, you know, God of War came out at the beginning of the year, so it had a longer time for people to get associated with it. Whereas Red Dead came out like, you know, 2 months before the Game Awards.
But the thing about Red Dead, though, is like, and something we were trying to achieve is, ironically, trying to pull people back into like, what's it like to sit around a campfire? What's it like to actually go fishing? Like nobody, except for people who live, you know, in the mountains and stuff, understand what that means to sit peacefully and do something like this, contemplate without your phone, without this stuff, without having to have enemies to beat. Like that was something that we really wanted to do, is like, we wanted to, I did personally. I wanted people to walk through that landscape and feel like they just wanted to sit on a rock and be a part of the space.
And meanwhile, the Grand Theft Auto guys are in the office next door going, "We just want to run over prostitutes."
They're like, who can we rate?
Still Lamborghinis run over prostitutes.
Actually, ironically, no. They were the ones that were pushing. That they wanted to have an experience in the game that doesn't exist in any other game. And that's why the campfire, that's why sitting around a campfire became a thing in Red Dead 2, is they wanted you to feel something that you can't get in any other game.
Sure.
And so they understand that nuance, you know. That's the cool thing about the you know, the Housers, is they really understood like how to, like, whether, you know, because it is running over prostitutes or a game about killing people, like it really is going for your jugular. It's forcing you to like deal with something that you don't normally deal with.
I experience that every week.
So the the proximity talking, is that something that was part of Red Dead before it went to like Sea of Thieves and Grand Theft Auto? Or did Grand Theft Auto create that first and then Sea of Thieves take it and then Red Dead end up using it?
You know, I honestly couldn't tell you where it originated in terms of the tech, you know, like...
I mean, it's right now it's out of control. GTA 5 online is just blowing up because, I mean, it's like Second World all over again, you know?
Yeah.
And the main reason is because of the open world, the proximity talking, which now is like you can actually hear the other people having a conversation.
Yeah.
When your character gets within a certain amount of feet of the character in the game, you can actually hear them chat. No, that's the conversation.
That's actually, to me, that is kind of a future thing. Like, this is the metaverse, right? We're all in this spot somewhere in the digital universe where we're having a conversation. We're doing that right now, and we're all on video. Mm-hmm. But if we could be doing it while sitting around a campfire in Red Dead as well,
right? And
watching the fire and the flames, right? So, like, this whole thing of like bringing people together in a digital space from wherever you are, like that is definitely, you know, the future.
So you're back.
Yeah, back in San Diego, back in the same space where I was for 20, 35, 20, however long it's been.
In the homeland.
The homeland.
I miss San Diego so much. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah. Well, if we ever get the cons running again, right?
We'll be out there in July during the week of the con, even though the con isn't going, but we'll be out there in Del Mar if you want to stop by. I'll have you.
Absolutely.
Lance usually comes over, so we'll.
Dude, we will make a point.
Oh yeah, dude, it'll be good.
Bringing people together.
Oh yeah, it's like it's family. It's like you just sit there and it's good times. It's always
just pick up where you left off. It's like you haven't even not seen these people for so long.
I tell you, I was so excited, like because I want to say this is like maybe 10 years ago was when I got your art book from you and we were talking. I mean, like it's been like that forever. Like we've talked Magic, we've talked Jesper, we've talked to the whole art deal and how Wizards has changed, you know, their pay structure and how they really, you know, aren't the company they used to be beforehand. And,
what's the future, Darren? What's the next thing that you're either involved with or hoping to get involved with? Are you just going to keep doing paintings for cards till the wheels fall off, or comics?
No, actually, I mean, right now I'm at Qualcomm doing more XR stuff, dealing with that. I like that space, like the new medium of the mixed reality. I think is really cool and fun. But you know, again, back to the age. There's a certain part of me that I've been so happy painting these animals for the past year and a half, 2 years. It's like I'm getting my art fix with that. I don't need to like do another comic. I don't need to do all this stuff. You know, I'm really just like having a blast. Just like, this is how I knew I could paint like this, but I've never sat down to do it. And so now that I have the inspiration there and the reference that I took myself, there's a personal investment in it, all of it. And, you know, it really has been satisfying. So I'm just kind of like skating on through like, okay, this is cool. Whatever comes my way, I'll check it out.
And being a game art director and producer is a young man's game. It's like, I just have no patience for that crap anymore. It's like, it's
too
much. You get to be an art director when you paint, and then as soon as you lead a 300-man crew.
Yes, exactly. You spend your whole day doing emails trying to explain to someone, again, about why those rocks need to be the way they are. You know, when you have the energy to do that, that's cool. But yeah, at a certain point, you're like, I don't need to do that again. I mean, I feel like I left a little bit of a stamp, you know, in the video game world with the Red Dead stuff anyway. So that's cool. Been there, done that. And, you know, I do like to do all this different stuff. I want to do more sculpture. I enjoy it all, you know.
Are those yours back into the right? Are those bronzes? Are you getting into bronze at all? Are you doing wax?
Oh no, this is my Frazetta wall.
Oh, okay.
Statues and
I'd like to see you do some
some of the Franklin Mint ones over there then.
I'd like to see you do some lost wax bronze work.
I would love to do that. I would have to talk to a facility and everything and see where I could.
I've used a foundry in San Diego.
Have you?
I don't know if they're still around. This is back in late 80s. I was doing my school bronze sculptures. Yeah, little figures and stuff. I want to really do like goofy, stupid, cartoony figures, but in bronze.
In bronze. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect.
That'd be awesome.
Dude, you need to actually, that's a thing.
Because it would look like a museum piece, but obviously just the stupidest animal you've ever seen.
I'm telling you, that's a real thing, Doug. You know this. You've seen like those paintings of the skeletons of Mickey Mouse or whatever, like that kind of stuff.
I know. I love that stuff.
It's so
It
good.
looks like it belongs in a museum, but it's just pop art.
Original magic artists like Jess from Earth Wars, Melissa Benson. I've been talking to Richard Kane Ferguson. I would love to get him on. And I think if I get him, I could probably get Therese, since both of them are doing the tarot card stuff right now. Like maybe they can have a mutual deal. It's just, Anson Maddox. How crazy would that be? Mark Tedden. I don't know. I would love to try to get some of them people on the show. It's just, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I'd like to give a platform and let these people realize that these are the originators. Like, like Darren, your artwork's going to be there forever.
Right.
Forever. Like you're going to be in Warcraft forever. You're going to be in Hearthstone forever. I mean, like, Pathfinder, your work is going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, we need to start paying more attention to those people. And I don't think that it happens enough. And man, I just really appreciate you taking the time to come on today. And again, Doug, as always, I love it when you're able to come on. And I'm glad that I was able to get you guys back together. Huh?
Yeah. Oh man, it's great. I'll see you in this summer, Darren, in July. I'll see you.
Absolutely.
Well, San Diego's doing like two things this year, aren't they? Aren't they doing like the online and then like a limited actual live event in November?
I haven't been paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
I just assumed things were bad, but
bad.
It'd be cool if they're doing it.
I'm not doing an online Comic-Con. Come on.
No, I mean,
we do it every day.
Yeah, I know. This is.
We do it every day.
That's what it's called, YouTube.
Yeah.
So
I have a whole convention you guys can all look at. So does Doug. We've got these channels. You're more than welcome.
Let's have Blevins Con in Arkansas. It'd be great.
BlevCon.
BlevCon. If we're able to get a hold of Lance and get him on, can we get all three of you guys back?
Oh, he'd be a scream.
Dude. Now we need to make that happen.
Make it happen.
George,
number one.
we should get
Make
George.
it happen.
George.
And George, you just get us a list. We'll reach out and try to see if we can get them, because I think it'd be great.
We're just gonna host a reunion for you guys. We'll just
Maybe an
and
AFT reunion might be good.
My
Get
God.
some
That'd
heavy
be
hitters.
cool.
That would be interesting. That would be really interesting.
Huh?
We have to talk about that offline. See if that could happen.
I do have the full run of the Attack of the Killer Tomato cartoons. We just won't be able to play the audio, obviously, because we don't want to get shut down.
I don't want to get another 90-day suspension.
Yeah, we don't want to get
almost done with.
Yeah.
April 13th, we can stream live again. I can't wait.
First day we do it, we get another 90 days.
So I got a YouTube warning today. I posted a clip of Ted Cruz. It was an actual quote of his. I didn't edit it. Mm-hmm. I just put it on a video because I thought it was bitching, and YouTube sends me a channel strike warning, and they removed it from my thing because they said it passed on a false conspiracy about voting. And I was literally just taking like a thing off C-SPAN of him speaking and put it on there. I'm like going, come on. Like, this is a factual thing that he actually said.
You're in the
I am in the target. I'm on the wrong. I keep going like, why can't I just be talking about comic books? Because I'd be so far out of trouble.
God, if we could, man,
if I could just talk about adult videos, I'd be so far out of trouble.
If we could get 500,000 people to get on and talk about comics and stuff, like, I've been watching the Previews World stuff, which is done by Steve Jeppy and Josh Jeppy. And, Previews World, they have this guy, Troy Jeffrey Allen, who gets to interview all these amazing people like Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld. He just interviewed
like Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane.
I mean, like it's insane the who's who, but he's only getting like 4 or 5 people watching live, and then he gets like 40 people tops watching the video.
Yeah, but they don't stream. They're not. You'd think they'd have a big network, but they don't.
Yeah.
They don't focus on it. You know, focus on it.
That's content over fame, anyways. You get the right, get Darren and I on here, we're fine.
There you go.
We give them meat. If they don't show up, it's because they're stupid. It's because they're on every other channel on YouTube, which means they're automatically doing something dumber than they should be doing. Being here, giving the show a thumbs up and a subscribe, and passing the link around to their magic friends.
That's right.
Magic buddies.
Magic buddies.
Blevins is on the mission to bring the originators, the people that made those. I never played Magic, but I have a boatload of Magic cards because as an artist, I only bought them for the art. I didn't care about the game. I mean, that's all I did was buy them for the art.
I played it in '94 in Vegas at CES or whatever that show was.
Yeah.
And, we bought our packs and we'd tap the water and put the little stones out and everything. I played with the Earthworm Jim crew.
I tried to play it once and I gave up on it.
Yeah, you said I'll paint.
Yeah, exactly. Well, those are like expensive cards, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
is that an actual Black Lotus there?
Oh yeah, it is.
Wow,
what's crazy is when I lived in South Carolina, there was a bunch of people played Warhammer, and we played at a place called Heroes and Dragons, and the guy who did
I have an invisible turtle.
The guy
look at that.
Green screen.
Ancestral Recall. His name is Mark Poole.
Yeah,
I used to go over to Mark Poole's house like every weekend with my buddies, and we would play Warhammer. Like it was crazy, and he was this big Magic artist, and I don't know, it was pretty neat. To go over and do all that, and then, again, there's just so many people that have gone lost with the art direction. Like Kai and Phil Folio that were huge into the Magic scene, but when they wanted to get rid of that campy cartoon look, like they were, they got cut, which was horrible.
Darren, we gotta start our own card set, buddy.
That would be fun.
When. Dude, screw these people. We'll
That'd
make
be
our
fun.
own
The thing is,
it's
got to be a game too, right?
No, dude, I'm a game designer, dummy.
Okay.
Dude.
I forgot that part.
We'll kill it. We'll kill it. Well, so are you.
Let's do it.
We need to have a game, and he's like, "I'm a game designer."
And we know artists. We could probably make this happen.
Oh yeah, just a giant.
I
can we can get it crowdfunded. We get everyone paid. It would just be a giant business. Just screw these people, man. We'll make our own. We'll make a card, a war game, and we'll start our own tournaments and have our own. I'm too old.
Yeah,
I'm so tired. I'm tired already,
dude.
All right,
I could help get the tournaments going.
There you go.
Oh, Doug, what do you have going on? What are you working on? Because I missed the last show we had, and I had to do a stupid get my house ready for an energy.
I got a bunch of projects. I'm trying some plastic figurines, plastic injection stuff. I've got 2 shorts, animated shorts I'm working on. I've got a YouTube channel, which is my real full-time job, and I'm writing Bigfoot Bill 3. Is that crowdfunding thing that I don't have time to do. Being YouTube, I don't have time to do the comics right now. So I'm just doing writing on the side.
Yeah.
So
how many stories do you have in your backlog? I'm sure you got plenty of.
Oh yeah. I'll never get to
nonstop.
Yeah. Well, no, the YouTube thing's crazy. Once you take off like that, I hear it's pretty intense.
But what's cool, Darren, is it's not that they're all good. It's that I have 35 of them. So when I do choose to do one, I'll pick just the very best one out of all that stuff, and I'll go, well, that has the best chance at being the best one. So then I can pull something decent out. And I'm looking at possibly crowdfunding Earthboy Jacobus, which is a book I released in 2004. I'd like to do a hardbound version. I just got the estimates on that from API. I mean, my printer, Jostens, and I might throw a crowdfunding out in a month or two of that and have it out by fall.
Well, congratulations. You've been able to pull that stuff off. Like that's, as I watch all of that stuff, because I play it safe, right? I've got a job where the money just magically appears in my bank account. You've actually done this. You've gone out, got the jobs, done the work, done it again, research what you need to do next, do it again. Like that whole thing, I've got it systemized now, Darren. Yeah.
I've got it systemized down. So it's a system down. So when you're ready to put out your animal paintings book, I'll show you how to slaughter it just step by step in the crowdfunding. So it's independently owned, do a nice hardbound book. Try and maximize as much of your profit, which at the most is going to be 20% of the campaign, and tell you all about the shipping and how to do fulfillment and all that. And I can help you. I'll walk you through the whole thing. And we just need to tap into your magic and wizards audience. And I think you do pretty well on it. So, but when you do an independent book of paintings that you love, dude,
I've been thinking about that. I mean, the stuff I do, every time I do a piece, I'm like, I'm proud enough of that. I should, it shouldn't just sit in my freaking flat files. It should be out somewhere else.
Keep painting, and we'll put it together. It will be the most bitchin' real art book. The animal fans will love it. Art fans will love it. And the Magic and Wizards of the Coast people will love it. You've got a natural, that a cross section of a pretty large amounts of crowds that I think it should do pretty well.
Yeah.
All right. I'll keep you in mind for that. I've been thinking about it. So,
dude, I help people. I walk them through it all the time. So it's just, I'm a big fan of it. I believe in it because it's independent. It's like, it's all you. It's
you control it.
Yeah. Yeah, Doug's on a whole nother level that everybody.
Yeah, he is.
There's only he's in the like 10 club, like 10 guys that have been at that level.
It's incredible. And Doug, so I take you still had Earthboy Jacoby because it was done through Image, right? Is that?
Yeah, it's the rights are totally mine.
Yeah. So was it just you? Were you the only one that worked on Earthboy Jacoby?
Yep. 272 pages. It's black and white, and I'm going to do a hardbound version of it.
Nice.
I've got this is my the U.S. Constitution, but it's going to be about something like this with hopefully gold gilded edges and some nice work on the cover, a nice hardbound edition of about this size. I'm going for a normal kind of comic.
Nice.
6x10. That's what I'm looking at. It's a difficult business because it's, the per unit cost is outrageous.
Yeah.
And so I can just I just try and squeak out about a 20% profit to barely live on. And at this point, as soon as I start doing that book, I'm losing money because compared to what I'm doing on what I make on YouTube.
Right.
So it's but that's what I love. Like I have to do a book. So
yeah,
got to do what you love.
Well, hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Darren, it was great to meet you, go through your artwork. You're always welcome on the show again. It sounds like we have so much more we could talk about. Doug, as always, you're always welcome on the channel. And it's always a blast talking to you guys.
Well, thanks for having me.
Miss you so much.
Miss you too, dude. Love you, Doug.
It was great having you guys on. Absolutely. Just
yes.
And Niles, I'll be on again next week. It's okay.
Yeah. We're just gonna make it a routine thing. Just bring it on. But everyone, if you're having fun, you're liking what we're doing on the Pop XP, join all of our series, our interviews, all the weird stuff. Now my Bigfoot and alien videos that are going up. Click that subscribe button, smash the bell. This way you get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome content like this interview and hangout we did tonight. Everyone, we will see you all on the next one. Blevins, keep on streaming, my friend. Darren, it's a pleasure. You're a freaking master at your craft. Doug, the same to you. Amazing storyteller, amazing guy. Check out his YouTube channel. This man is in exile. He is in exile, and that's where he'll stay
permanently.
Everyone have a great night, and we'll see you soon.
Later.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at ThePopXP and over on Instagram at ThePopXP. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.